In Excel VBA, classes let you create instances of an object you use in your simulation. Those objects could be customers or stations within a process. One useful way to manage instances of a class is to create a collection. If you have programmed in VBA before, you probably know the worksheets collection, which contains all of the worksheets in a workbook. In this movie, I will show you how to create collections for objects in your own classes. My sample file is chapter 0104, and you can find that in the chapter 1 folder of your exercise files collection. We'll work exclusively in VBA in this movie, so I'll switch away from our blank worksheet to the Visual Basic Editor by pressing Alt F11. Here is a code module that I already created for SimTest, and you'll see at the top that I have declared an object variable for a customer, and we'll use that a little bit later. The next thing I need to do, though, is to define a variable that will hold our collection. So I'll click on the line below the Object C declaration as customer, and I'll type dim customers as collection. So we now have a new collection variable called customers. I'll press enter twice. Now we can set customers equal to a new collection. So first we define our object variable, and then we use set to create a new instance of that object type. So we'll do set customers equals new collection. There we go. So everything looks good. The next thing to do is to add a couple of customers to this collection, and then to take a look at values that we assign to them. We can do that using a for next loop that steps from 1 to 2, that is 1 for each customer we're creating. So I'll type for, then L, cust ID counter, and this is just a counter variable. I won't bother declaring it up top, equals 1 to 2, and press enter. Now I'll press tab to move in, and now we need to define, first of all, a customer using the Object C object variable. So we'll do set objc equals new, and it will be type customer, or C customer in this case, and enter. Now we will add that object to the customers collection. So I'll type customers dot add. So we'll use the add method to add a new member. And what will we add? Well, Object C. So objc and enter. Next, we should assign values to properties to make sure that everything is working correctly. For example, we could put in the customer ID number, which will be the same as the counter variable, and also the start time. So let's do customers. And which element of the collection do we want to use? We'll start counting from 1. So we'll do L, customer ID counter, which is our counter variable, and then close with a right parentheses, then a period, and we'll assign to the property customer ID, then equal, and we'll assign the counter variable, so that's L customer ID counter, as I abbreviated it above. Right, everything's good. Next, we can assign a value to the start time, so I'll just copy what I did here, just to make it a little easier. So then we are still working with the same object, so I will use the L customer ID counter as the indicator, but we'll change customer ID to start time, which is the start time property, and we'll assume both of these customers start at the same time. So I'll type the number 1. That's all that will go in the for next loop, so I can type next L customer ID counter, make sure the spelling's right. Yep, looks good. And now we can print out the values, and we'll do that using a debug.print statement. So put in a comment indicating what we're doing, print out values of each customer ID in the collection. Press enter twice, then for each Object C in customers. So for each member of the customers collection, we'll do debug.print Object C objc dot customer ID. So let me make sure I got that typed in right. Debug print object objc dot customer ID. Right, everything is good there. So I'll press enter, backspace, next objc, and there we are. So if this code runs correctly, in the immediate window, we should see the customer IDs for customer 1 and customer 2. To display the immediate window, I'll press Ctrl-G. There it is at the bottom. I'll click back in the SimTest subroutine, so the insertion point is flashing there, and press F5 to run. And as expected, we see the values of the customer ID properties for both of the customers as part of our collection.